the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Batterby, Russell, Bodley,
Here.
Chapman,
Here.
Clark, Here,
Here.
Tyler,
Here.
Cruising,
Here.
Davenport.
I'll accept the motion for approval of the agenda, June 13th as presented.
So moved.
I'd like to make one motion to add an action item, D, would be to approve the changes to the zoning as recommended by the planning commission.
Motion to add to the motion to the ordinance of the action items.
Action item D, the motion to approve it as amended.
So moved.
Motion by Batterby,
Support.
support by Chapman. All in favor? Motion passes. Accept the motion for the approval of the minutes for the May 9th regular board meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Batterby, support by Bodley. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes. Any public comment? Larry?
My name's Larry Glamer. I live in Central Lake, and I've had a history with these people. So, but anyway, this is sort of a heads up for you people. So don't have a gripe or anything like that. But back in July of 2011, the council approved a change in Ron Donaldson's insurance, and it saved the village a lot of money. And we worked out, you know, a different company and pretty close to adequate insurance. So, but here's the deal I want you to know. And how we did that was, it led Ron and Luann and I to a place in Traverse called the Area Agency on Aging. And they help seniors with insurance. And so as a result of that, I got to know the people there. And so I had a conversation with them here a couple of weeks ago. Plus I had read in the paper of a change that is coming down the line. And that deals with Blue Cross, which is the company that Ron and Luann are now with. Blue Cross and the state of Michigan have worked out an agreement, and I'm not sure whether it's been signed by the governor or not, but it's been passed by at least one of the houses, and the House or the Senate, and it will become law. And what it says is that Blue Cross, which has always been a nonprofit organization, therefore did not pay taxes, is going to a profit status. Okay, so, and why that's happening, as I understand it, they will pay a lot of taxes to the state of Michigan, and that's why they're doing it. And you know that Blue Cross must feel that they're going to make out over and beyond the taxes they're going to pay. But how that affects and the plan that Ron and Luann have, and their 210,000 approximately seniors have this plan. It's called the Medigap C plan. And so presently that plan costs $121 a month per person. So you pay for Ron and Luann. So, right after we approved that plan, you guys approved it, I wasn't there yet. The Blue Cross raised the rates $10 a month for first. And when they did that, they, I don't know what you would call it, but I know that they sent out letters and they promised a 5-year no increase in premiums. That's 2 years, 2 years have gone by. So they can't really do anything with these people on Medigap Plan C for another 3 years. But what they can do after that is they can raise the rates. And that's what I'm warning you about, and there's nothing you can do about it now. But, you know, when you're budgeting, you want to know as early as you can. And I will follow it as well as I can with the people there in Traverse City. Because that guy down there who helped us with Ron is, he's been to Lansing twice and testified in front of committees of both the Park and the Senate. And they don't know at this point in time how much the rates are gonna increase, but they are. That's all he said. And as much as $100 a month per person. That, what that would do is put us right back where we were when we first started. So I'll follow it. I'll be talking with some of you guys, Ken in particular, as things develop. And if it looks like it's something you want to look for options, you know, I would be willing to volunteer to do that and find out where they might go with you know, fairly equal type of plan. But there's so much going on right now because of the Affordable Care Act, the Obama health plan. You really don't know what's happening. But this one thing is for sure, that Blue Cross, these 210,000 people, elderly people, are getting hung out to dry at this point by the state legislature. And, you know, there needs to be heat put on those guys. If they're going to increase the tax revenues by $1 billion, they can do something for these people. And so that's why I give them my little sermon here. And if you have any questions, go ahead. Otherwise, I'm done.
Any questions? Thank you, Larry.
Thank you, Larry.
Any other public comment? Okay, we'll close the public comment. Report, Scott, please report.
Thanks. Hopefully everybody gets a chance to look at the May report. Things are starting to pick up and we are getting pretty busy. So overall, you've got the stats on the first page. Second page kind of lists some of the unusual things that they're doing. Along with traffic and people, zoning permits are coming up, and we got a couple more this month than last month. So. And that's kind of about it. One of the things I listed down there is things to discuss. I'm not sure if all of you know or some of you know. Al Burnett is planning on kind of somewhat semi-retiring this summer. So after many, many years, and to the left of him is his son Bob, who's going to be taking over for him to do our firearms and stuff like that. So did you want to tell him a little bit about yourself? Or?
Okay,
Sure, go ahead.
my name is Bob Burnett. I started law enforcement in 1979 in Brunswick, Georgia. Did that for 5 years, moved to Washington, D.C. Cotton, Washington, D.C. from 84 to 89. I feel I served my time in D.C. for 5 years, so I left, went back to Brunswick, Georgia. Started as a firearm instructor at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center. Did that, was promoted to senior instructor, was over the firearm instructor training program for 9 years, and was promoted to branch chief over all the advanced training, and retired last year as the chief of firearms. Been doing it for 22.5 years. I like shooting, I like teaching people how to shoot. I know the laws. I went through the Michigan Police Academy about 3 months ago. Passed that, qualified, and just kind of looking for something part-time.
So we should not lose any competition shoots then. So we're all there.
I'll kind of let you know, we're kind of unofficially stacking the deck because these two will actually be on this on board at the same time, so when the Michigan pistol shoot comes along, they'll clean house. So that's kind of, you know, the only thing Al asked for is that maybe they could kind of both somewhat still be on the books at the same time, officially, unofficially, so that they could clean house down there, so. But yeah, Bob's gonna take over for Al, primarily just to do the firearms qualification, as needed, maybe like once a month, just to keep his certification and stuff like that, so. And it doesn't change our budget, it doesn't change anything as far as the dollar lines, so. Just kind of, one's going out, one's coming in, so.
Well, welcome to Central.
Thank you very much.
Al, I'm surprised you're retiring at such a young age.
Again,
How many years, Al?
55,
55 years total. Great.
law enforcement, yeah.
Well, thanks for all your years here. Yes, thank you.
Thanks. Any questions, I'm sorry?
Thank you, Scott. Sam?
Everybody should have a copy of DPW. Really nothing out of the ordinary, typical spring. Got here, we got behind, we're still trying to catch up. Any questions?
Questions? I'd like to thank you though for getting the garbage cans out that the school did for us. I think they look really good and get them out real quick. That was nice.
Yeah, no, I'd like to thank everybody. They've been working hard. We've pushed them a little bit, maybe more than we should have, but we're trying to get town hall cleaned up. They worked in the park, got the hill cleaned up, cans out, sidewalks, so there's been a lot going on in the DPW right now, so I hope it shows around town.
What are you doing in your spare time?
Working.
Appreciate you getting the painting done on the stripe and the
Yeah.
lights downtown too. That really
Nice.
improved the looks of them.
Well, thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Lyle, campground.
Well, been kind of status quo, no much, cutting along the grass, and weed whacking and what have you. Not too many campers coming in. Month of May, we had 26 sites occupied. I pulled up a report a little while ago, and the month of June right now, we should have 52 occupied. And there's still some room on the schedule, we're full for the 4th of July, but there's a gap there in June that we could use some more in there. Computer's working better, it's manageable now. We had another updating last night. And they reversed themselves a little bit on the reports, but it's a manageable situation now. And I think down the road, it'll probably work out all right. The grid on that system allows me to see what is available and what's not available readily. So that makes it easier on, much easier than going through paperwork. So that's basically where we stand. We got Sam's dug the sand out of that one dock. We got black dirt back in there, it's seeded. Grass is starting to grow. We got the repairs done down there, and they also done that hill. We got grass coming on that hill. They've got one guy on top right now on site 35. I had one on there over Memorial Weekend. Both of them had a lot of compliments on the hill. Just taking those trees out from under the wire and opening that up.
I know you had had some issues with some of the reporting. Maybe that's a little better now with this last update?
Yeah, it's a lot easier to find some of that stuff. They give us an option as to earmark it as favorites, so I can earmark those and go in and get those reports without going back through and reading them all and checking them out, so. There's a lot of reports on there, and I don't know how many of those we actually need, but I have picked out 3 or 4 that give us the basics anyway. So, Okay,
Question? I'd like to thank you a lot, there's been a lot of work on that reservation system. Thank you for your patience, I
well,
know
it's,
we've had our
it's a
issues.
work in progress, there's no getting around that, and,
We'll get there.
I hope it helps us out as far as selling the campground. Right now, I think we still got some issues. I think we ought to have a committee meeting on it and go through some of those issues and look at it before we get too deep into it, but it is working right now, so.
You didn't mention that you had built some,
The cabinets for the bathroom, I built those last winter and I put them in the bathroom, and all of our cleaning supplies, stuff is inside those cabinets, so they're not setting out on the dividing walls of the bathrooms, the stalls, so, yeah, they're up.
Correspondence, I have one letter I'll deal with later under action items. I have nothing else if anybody else doesn't have no correspondence. We will move on to committee reports. Rob?
Streets, Sam said, they painted the white lines and the crosswalks. Only snafu that I saw was a semi that drove over the orange cones, through the white paint and out on the 88. The orange cones are there for a reason. Sidewalks. 2 weeks ago, Sam, myself, and Ken went out and looked over all the sidewalks in the village. We came up with 3,245 feet of sidewalk that needs to be replaced. Again, the reason it needs to be replaced is because of insurance liability issues. We all came up with the idea that it'd be better, instead of replacing, to remove the sidewalks, replace with black dirt and seed it. If we were to go with the concrete in a perfect world, it'd be almost 4 times that. That's if it were a straight line and there were no curves and there were no stumps, roots, or any other obstructions to get in our way. So that's why we went with this route instead of the other route. Sam did 100 feet on Elm Street, thank you. 460 feet on 6th Street on the north side. Came out to $2.10 a foot. So Sam, you've only got 2,685 feet left, thank you.
It's until Wednesday next week.
Let's see, lights. We're still working with Tanco Lighting, or I should say Schaefer Lighting, to replace the streetscape lights with LED, to obviously lower our kilowatts so we can lower our bill. Sam recently turned the one bulb in front of Patent Insurance down from 55 watts to 27 watts. I went out at 3:30 in the morning, the other morning, and I could not tell the difference in wattage in terms of the lumens that you're getting from that. I suspect the reason being is a traditional light, the light goes up and diffuses upward, whereas the LED light is shining down. If you're ever up late at night and you can't sleep, walk out there and you can look up there. It's actually very nice. It's a white light, and you can actually look up there now because it's not as bright, because we obviously dropped the wattage in half. People on the board, I did put this in your mailbox, the whole proposal from them. I just got that. That action item, let's see, that is B. I'm going to table that for now, so that way everybody can look at it, because there's a lot of information there, and I can also put it out to the public. So I'm going to hold off on doing anything with that until the July meeting. And again, that way we can meet with the representatives from that and get all our answers to our questions, so that way I can be more accurately informed for everybody. Trying to think, sidewalk, streets, that's it.
Any questions for Rob? Thank you, Rob. Rod, water and sewer?
Actually, I haven't heard much about anything really from anybody out in the public, but Sam has submitted our sewer samples. They've been forwarded to DEQ for approval. We have one new water customer, we have one new sewer customer, and I do know there's a few people that have not updated on their water bill payments yet, but other than that, everything sounds, Sam and I sat down the other day and talked, and everything sounded pretty good.
Great. Any questions for Rob? Thank you, Rob. Bill, law enforcement?
Chief Scott covered everything pretty well.
think everything went pretty smooth at the car show, and sure everybody appreciates Scott's efforts there. I'd like to take the opportunity to welcome Bob to our little village here. We sure enjoy having you here, I'm sure. I think you have you had your dad's old job at the Federal Firearms, didn't you?
Yes.
He was the same place, and now you have his old job here.
I'm not sure if I want the next one.
Welcome anyways, thank you for coming. Thank you. Appreciate it. That's all I have, but I think everything else was covered pretty well.
Any questions for Bill? Thank you, Bill. Denise, communication.
The only thing, I've had some public comment regarding the need and desire for a cleanup day again for the village. I know we've covered that before, but I just thought maybe it's something we should keep active and revisit, just because there's been so much, so many comments on it.
Okay. Any questions?
And we said, talking with Sam earlier, and with the Facebook, I don't know if you had the opportunity to get on there and make posts and stuff, we added you. On Monday, between 8 AM and roughly 1 o'clock, he's gonna have the water shut off on Green Street. We should probably get a post out on Facebook.
Monday, what's the date?
17th.
Water shut off,
Yeah, on Green Street. From 8 AM to roughly 1 maybe,
okay.
just as a rough estimate there. And then I also noticed in the emails, there was a gentleman that was looking for information. Did you get a chance to respond to
No.
that?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
What is the purpose of a water shut off on?
Hookup.
A hookup, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Any questions? Thank you, Denise. Joe, finance.
Oh, we had quite a few things. First, we got our audit back. Everything is looking real good on our audit. No problems with that. We've looked into our DPW vehicles right now. There's a lot of different options out there that we've got. We want to get everything together before we get too much into it. Our water truck is in pretty rough shape, so we're just looking to see what our options are at replacement vehicles. Some of the initial numbers we get back look pretty promising that we could essentially run a vehicle, possibly if the numbers are correct, for 3 years at almost no cost to the village. So there's some good benefits to it, if it all pans out that way for us. Other than that, I believe we want to, should we put it in action items for Jen Kiesel for 2 more weeks, or just, we're gonna want to keep Jen Kiesel for 2 more weeks for mowing while Sam and them finish getting the last 2,800 and some foot of sidewalk out?
Yes,
There you go.
2,685.
There you go. Is there any problems with the council, anybody? She's been a hard worker, Sam says, she's
Is
good for
extending
that.
her for another 2
Just 2 more weeks, yep. So, with that being done, back in April, I want to say it was, we hired a common area caretaker, Miss Sandy Bodebender. I asked her to come in last month, but we changed the dates and things got a little chaotic, so I asked her if she would stop in again this month so everybody could meet her. This is Sandy here in the 3rd row back, and she's our common area caretaker. Other than that, the only thing I had, and Lyle, correct me if I'm wrong on this, I talked with Lyle quite a bit about the campground and the reservation system, and I believe you've got some reservations on the 4-day over the weekend scheduling that we have. Lyle, if I'm correct anyways, Lyle believes that it could hinder us in revenues. So I just bring that to the council's attention, if we want to deal with it, if we want to ride it out, see what it does, but that is a concern that Lyle has had, that I think he probably wanted to bring up with the Parks Committee when they have that, so.
I kind of believe it was that red flag on the 4-day thing. I think people are not reading that all the way. we're just not getting the reservations. I got a lot of the older ones, regulars, that should be here by now. They have not called or questioned or anything on it. And you know how it is, people see a warning flag up there and they read what they wanna see and they, I don't know, I'm just guessing, but we're not getting that there, and I don't know if the 4-day is the right thing. I have looked into some of these other campgrounds. The only time they have a stipulation like that is over the holiday weekends. And they put a 3-day rental on that. I don't really think we need that right now with the grid system that this system has given us, because I can see what's there. Number 1 page lists all the lakefront sites. I can pull it up and see what's available, when it's available, and so forth right there. I don't know. Something besides the high price of gas and the weather, I think is interfering with our campground.
I was around a little bit this last week over by East Jordan and checked with some other campgrounds. Besides Eastport over the Petoskey Festival, there, Petoskey Festival, just about every campground was down and reservations. It's hard to compare ours with other people's. All the amenities are different. Every place is a little different. I'm not sure if I don't know if we should change it. We should hold it. I do know that if we don't build a history, we're not gonna truly be able to see what works and doesn't if we don't have that history. So I don't know if it's something we wanna jump on changing right away or not, pass it off to the Parks and Rec Committee, make a recommendation. I think that would probably should go back to the board and ask them.
It'd probably be best to have the Parks Committee get together with Lyle.
Yep.
You know, maybe you're gonna have to run it a weekend or so and see how
I've,
it actually does work.
I did take and go through the memorial, or the month of May. On the lakefront, I had 2 sites rented up until Memorial Day. Memorial Day weekend, I had 6 sites rented on the lake. I had a total of 19 rented in the campground for Memorial Weekend. Which is down from last year. Last year we checked it out, we had 26. So it is down. Lake Barn definitely was
There
down.
was quite a difference in the weather from last year.
There's no question about it. There was a difference in the weather, there's a difference in the gas prices. There's a multitude of things involved here. But I would not want to see this get so far down that we take 2 or 3 years to recover. That's my feeling, huh?
I think probably it would be a good idea to have the Parks and Rec Committee look at it and bring a
Because
recommendation.
we have to remember, the whole reason we did this, because we sat here last year for numerous meetings and had the discussion that since we took reservations, people were reserving the site for 2 days on the weekend and we lost revenue during the whole week. So now we come up with this to take care of that scenario, and now we're saying we've created another one. So we're not gonna find the perfect answer, so we just.
There is no real perfect answer.
No.
But actually, if they rent them on, only for the weekend, 2 days on the weekend, they move out on Sunday, you've got the chance of renting it for the full week on the next rental, you know?
Well, like I said, the whole discussion last year was that wasn't happening, that we lost the whole week.
Well, we didn't lose any whole weeks last year. We did lose some days in the middle of the week, and there's no question about that. And one thing you can't do is you can't force somebody to buy something that they don't wanna pay for, you know? And that's basically what we're asking those people to do. We're asking them to buy an extra night or 2 extra nights.
Same way if I wanna go to a motel on a weekend. So I mean, there's all kinds of issues.
Well,
You know, we're not gonna find a perfect answer. I think if you meet with the Parks Committee and we'll hash it all out rather than right here. I mean,
That's fine.
I don't think we have any answers right now.
I think the committee
Yeah.
should come up with a
We will
recommendation.
get the committee with.
And the only reason I bring this up rather than Leela is just because I've worked on the reservation system with Corey and Lyle here. Leela has been aware of the issues, and we've talked quite a bit, but since I have dealt with the majority of this, that's why I brought it up.
Fine.
Any other comments? Anything else, Sean?
No, I'm good with that, that's all I have.
Leila, parks and public property that we've already
I
covered.
think Ms. Brimwell covered it all right now, so we'll have.
I got a question for Lila, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right, real quick, I know I'm on the committee and I should probably know this, but the 4-day reservation system, they have to book it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Right.
Only on the waterfront then?
Yeah.
All right, now, what are we charging on the waterfront?
$25 a night.
$25 a night on those 4 nights.
Yeah.
So that's $100.
That's right.
All right. I'm just wondering if we should modify it. I'll toss it out there, just perhaps maybe Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Well, my comment was, I don't think it truly is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I think
thought
I
it was
could get
Friday,
Friday, I think Friday, Saturday has to be a 4-day. Could be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, is that correct?
I believe it's
Yeah, it's
4
not-
days.
That's the only way
as long as it goes
the
over.
computers
Yeah.
will do it, is they takes that weekend in, either Wednesday, Thursday,
Before or
Friday,
after.
Saturday,
Yes.
and Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
So
Monday, Friday, Saturday has to be a 4-day period on the lakefront from Memorial Day to Labor Day. Does that make sense?
No.
You can't have, if you have it Friday or Saturday, you have to have 4 days.
Okay, either side, you got
Either side.
Okay,
Friday
Monday,
or
You
Saturday.
want on each side, you
Throws it
want.
into the 4
You
days.
can bookend it, or you can
And actually,
front load it, or
it.
No, actually it started after June 6th. 8th we started. We did revise that knowing that there are slow times in the campground, that it obviously didn't work, it wasn't worth it. So what we did is we put a system into that, that we can change the dates from year to year if we want to, that in certain parts of the year, you can have it for 2 days. The busy seasons, it is a 4-day.
All right, thank you.
A little more about after the meeting.
Kind of feeling I will.
Any more questions for Leila? Thank you, Leila. I'd like to thank you for that. President's
It's been kind of
report.
fun and interesting.
I don't have much other than, because I got involved in it to start with, I've kind of been following through on the Cobra headlights with consumers. What I can honestly tell you is we'll be talking about it next year at this time probably. It's a long process, it's a program consumers really doesn't have, they're working with us, but things move slow. So, just so you know, we haven't dropped the ball on that. Sam and I both been in touch with the county as far as the pavement giving way along 88 downtown. That's waiting for MDOT to come with a camera and look through the drains. So once again, we do our calling, the county calls MDOT. MDOT will be here, so. Once again, that moves slowly in the same way at 88 and Herrick, right, Sam? The county's gonna come and do that, but once again, we keep reminding them and we will get them here. So, other than that, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
I have a question
Yes.
on these, on the scheduling for the reservations. What program are they using for the computer that's gonna lock that in like that? That wouldn't be the computer, it would be a program,
Yeah.
We use we use a Sunrise automated system.
okay? So maybe that system needs updating. If it's chopping it up like that, it's not giving a.
We made that rule. They write the rules for us that we dictated to them.
Because my thought is, if you're charging $25 per day on the front water park, you're not getting all the amenities that other places are giving. Like out to Barnes Park, it's come per served basis. They don't even do reservations out there at all.
We didn't used to either.
And they stay pretty well filled up. Everything's slow now because the weather, mosquitoes, and other things, gas prices, but things will pick up.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I'll accept the motion for the approval of bills, prepaid in the amount of $6,861.16, payroll in the amount of $6,186.24, payables in the amount of $27,112.39, for a total approved amount of $40,159.79.
I'll make that motion.
Motion Motion by Chapman, support by Thayer. Any discussion? Roll call.
Batterby?
Yes.
Bodnar?
Yes.
Chapman?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Thayer?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Swayze?
Yes. Motion back. Thank you. Anybody have any new business that I'm not aware of? And we will move on to the purchase of property. Action item number 1 is purchasing of the property at 8096 West State Street. That property came up on tax foreclosure, so the village automatically gets first right of refusal on the property. The village would like to, as we discussed last, we discussed buying the property and then having the trees removed. Bill said the fire department could burn the house down. We would then have the lot cleaned up, seeded and mulched. The First Congregational Church next door, the parsonage next door, has been watching that for probably 2-3 years, trying to buy it, could not get in contact with who owned it, so they've truly been watching and waiting this whole time and making an attempt to purchase it. So they have gave us a letter of committal that they will pay all associated costs after the cleanup to purchase that lot, so it's done. So the cost to the village in the end will be nothing. So it's my recommendation that the village move ahead and purchase the lot. At that point, then we would have, Ralph Hines gave us a bid to come in and cut down the trees, which would be down on Bill's advice before. The fire department will come in and burn the house down, after which Buckland's will come in and clean up all the debris, haul it away, and bring it up to seed and mulched. At that point, the church will purchase it for an approximate cost of $12,000, which I truly don't think is gonna change. The tax amount, $3,642.89, plus a $10 filing fee. Ralph will remove the trees for $1,500. Buckland's estimate is $6,500. If anything, Buckland's would be a little less, but I don't see that as happening, so I rounded it to $12,000. It clearly is a few dollars under, but I will read you the letter from the church. The First Congregational Church of Central Lake wishes to acquire the property located at 8096 West State Street in the village. We respectfully ask the village council to purchase the above property at July 5th, 2013 tax sale. The First Congregational Church of Central Lake is committed to the purchase of the property at an approximate cost of $12,000 after the village has acquired it. This amount includes payment of the back taxes on the property, the burning and clearing of the debris after burning, tree removal, seeding, and mulching. We understand that the price can vary if unforeseen circumstances arise. Any questions on this? Yes.
I have a question. Was this on the agenda in the last meeting for new business?
Was it on the agenda? It wasn't new business at the last meeting.
Okay. And I have another question. Why doesn't the church just go ahead and purchase the property and do all this? Why would,
Because the village has first right of refusal only.
well, I have a question.
That was the answer.
Right. Why would you want to go through all that and then the church go ahead and purchase it from you or whatever?
I guess I truly don't understand the question.
Okay.
We're moving blight in the village, we're doing it at no
Well, I
cost to the
understand that.
village.
But what I don't understand is why you guys would take the effort of cleaning that all out. If the church has had their eyes on it, it should be open to them to purchase.
It will be if we say no, and the county says
But why go
no,
through
and then
all
it
the-
goes up for public auction.
Oh, I understand that. But why go through the red tape and the cleanup of the blight and the trees being cut down?
To clean up blight within the village.
Right, there's plenty of blight in the village. What I'm trying to state here, sir, it would make more sense for the church to purchase that for the cost of the taxes right now, for them.
The church doesn't have that option right now.
No.
Nobody does.
Nobody does.
Nobody does.
but
It's first right of
everybody
refusal
will
to the village,
if
then
it goes
it
to
goes to
auction.
the
Yeah, if it
county,
goes to
then it goes
auction.
up to public auction.
Right, and everybody
church
here,
is bad.
everybody has the
Down
option
the public.
at the auction. Okay?
Everybody here had the option to buy it for the last 3 years. when
No,
it
they
sat
did
here
not.
No, they
and
did not, it was
taxes
not
weren't
made
paid.
public record unless people know how to search records and that information is brought into the town here. And a lot of people
Actually,
did
other
not-
people, in addition to the church, have tried to find the same information about
Mhm.
how to go about purchasing the property.
And a lot
how to
of
take
people
care
are
of it,
shocked
with
about
the
it
same
right
lack
now.
of success the church did. So it seems as if it's a conflict of interest for the village to now do this on the church's behalf.
The village is doing it on the village's behalf.
Why
Because
not?
people will purchase it for no money.
Why?
The village would not do this had somebody not committed to pay us the price of the cleanup.
The question I want to have is what is the interest of the village all of a sudden for this property? What is the interest? A simple question,
Simple answer, to clean up blight,
okay? And why would you want to purchase the property
to clean up the blight,
and sell it to the church?
to clean up the blight at no cost.
Okay. The church is still going to purchase it from the village.
Absolutely.
Okay, so why doesn't the church purchase it at cost and what's owed on it if it goes to auction, whatever the decision is, would save the church money and the village?
How would it save the church money?
Because they would take their congregation and people and invest in cleaning the wood up, chopping the wood, cleaning the blight.
No, they wouldn't. Now you're
Still, it's a
speaking for the
conflict
church
of
and you don't
interest, I
know, we're
do
going down
believe.
this road, I'm not going down. Now
I
you're
still
speaking for the
believe-
church that you
Can I
have
talk
no
about being
involvement in.
interrupted, please? And
What's
I'll
that?
give you, I like to talk about being interrupted, and I'll give you the courtesy as well. There seems to be a conflict.
I'll give you the courtesy as public comment, so let's be straight about this. Okay, this is
Yes.
the council's meeting, not yours.
Correct.
Okay, so now
I'm
we
just
can
asking
continue.
a question for the public.
And I answered it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No.
It seems to me, I read a little bit of the ordinance earlier today, and it says that the village, over the course of the last 2 to 3 years, had the option of taking care of the blight, although it's called a nuisance in the ordinance. You could have at any point along the last 2 years gone in and, with notice of 10 days to the homeowner, taken care of the nuisance yourself, because it does invite pests and insects and whatnot. So I guess I have the same question as the other lady, how this happens, and you already have a signed agreement in place with the church before it ever came to be presented to the public.
Because the only way the village was gonna pursue it was if somebody would make the commitment to buy it.
That seems like a real conflict of interest.
That you would have to run by the village attorney, because it's on his advice.
I think you might too.
I already did.
You don't think it's a
It's been
conflict of
through- it's been
interest, and not
through
to
the
mention
attorney.
a
It's been
violation
done-
of a separation of
it's
church
been
and
done in
state for you to
numerous
do
other
church business as the
municipalities.
village president?
Everything's
This
going
is
is perfectly legal.
because-
You're a member of that church, you don't see the conflict of interest?
Absolutely not.
I think there is one.
I believe about 2.5 years ago, Scott was asked to do some research to find the owners of that property on a blight issue then. And
Right.
to no avail, you couldn't find who owned the property, we could find nothing on it. It just now came back to my attention,
Just
and
for
from
tax
what I
sale.
understand, it just came up for tax sale that we found
Okay,
out
well,
about.
it's my understanding that as village, you could have gone in to the house and taken care of the nuisance, which is what it qualifies under in the ordinance. It's not really blight if the lawn needs mowing, it's a nuisance. And that's what it is in the ordinance.
It would have been at our cost. We would have.
Yeah, and then you could have
And
billed the
liability.
homeowner for that.
There was no homeowner, been foreclosed on, and the bank would not talk to anybody. So we would have been stuck with the bill, because we checked into it too. Scott did a lot of research on it. We
But, so you're going to
contacted
give a loan basically in effect to the church and
We're
say,
not
this is
giving
a
a loan
loan, you're
anyway.
loaning village money to the church
the bank. We're not
to
loaning
do
money to
this work.
anybody.
It kind of is,
No, it kind of isn't.
because you're gonna take care of the costs, get the property on their behalf, and then sell it to them.
Mhm.
I thought that you could only purchase property for public use.
We can, the public use is to clean up blight.
Mm,
That's why we have to clean it up. We can't just buy it and sell it.
That's,
It's been done numerous times in many
Excellent.
municipalities.
Okay.
Yes, Judy.
The papers that are on the doors in the picture on the site are not on the house anymore. The papers that were on the house did list the owner of the house. Her name was on the paper, her full name and the lot number and everything.
She was the owner before Deutsche National Bank foreclosed on the home, and it went through about 2 banks. Scott tried to find it, Larry Blamer spent months trying to find it, realtors spent many times to find it, their advice was.
Somebody owns it.
Their
Who
advice
owns it?
was, call her, their advice was give up, you will never find the true owner of that property until it goes up for tax sale.
Who's putting it up for tax sale?
The state of Michigan,
So the state owns it.
the state owns it, now they took it back on back taxes. That's what, this isn't a foreclosed property, this is tax.
No.
It has to go through back taxes for a 3-year period, and
Yeah.
then
I
you
know.
can't touch it for 3 years.
I know, because I've been looking at it for the
Yeah.
3-year period.
It's just-
yeah, it is not only.
Waiting for it to come open for a tax sale to then possibly go and bid on it. Now, my question is, I know you, we're friends. Had I come to you and said, Ken, I really, really want that property, I will guarantee in writing that I will pay you back for that property if you will bid on it and get it for me, would that have been allowed, legal, or kosher?
Absolutely.
I don't think it would.
All I give you is
I mean, we would have
attorney's
used my
advice.
our friendship for you to circumvent the system. For me to get it without standing in line and bidding on it like everyone else, I would have used you as my
The
friend.
village is allowed to buy property for public use on tax foreclosure. The public use is to clean up the blight. Once we clean up the blight, the village is also allowed to sell property by private sale.
But with a pre-purchased agreement, that's where, for a lot of us, I'm going to speak for us, that's where the problem lies, is a pre-purchased agreement that you will buy it for that reason. Because if anybody else shows up then wanting to buy it from you for the same price you're gonna sell it to the church, we should be allowed that right. Because we didn't get to bid on it, you got first rights, which is legal. For you to pre-purchase for someone else though, cuts us right out of the loop. And if we wanted to get it the way they're getting it, we should have that opportunity then,
It's illegal.
I think.
Yes.
Also, if the purpose is cleaning up the blight, then why is a purchase agreement, why does that have to be in place before you've agreed to do it?
So you can't afford it.
Because the village wasn't gonna spend $12,000 and be stuck with a $12,000 vacant lot that is not worth $12,000 in the village of Central Lake to anybody, in my opinion, but the First Congregational Church. And that came from the township assessor on tax sales and the value of property in the village. So if the proper course, you think, would have been for the village to buy it, burn it down, and have a $12,000 lot that we didn't think we could sell, would have been spending taxpayers' money foolishly.
No, I'm not saying, I think that.
You would have sold it as, with the
None of
house
the
on it.
above
We
would be
can't.
my
We
choice.
can't- we
You
cannot
haven't
buy
tried
it.
to sell it with the house on
We
it.
cannot buy it and sell it with a house on it. That's illegal.
Well, then it should just go to public auction.
I personally
Schedule
don't
to do it if
understand
you
how
don't
you can
exercise
define
your
public
right.
use as cleaning up blight. Public use means a total different thing than cleaning up blight.
At that point, you'd have to call the attorneys in the state of Michigan, because we don't make those definitions, we just want
Well,
their advice.
everybody has their own rules, and including attorneys. But at the beginning of this conversation we're having here, you said, you did quote and say in a sentence, the property we are going to buy. You did say that.
Yes,
So it's already been decided?
we haven't voted on it yet, so I don't see a decision having been made.
But you did make that statement.
Absolutely, quote it.
I'm sorry, I missed it.
Yeah.
I missed hearing what was said, I'm sorry.
She said, I made that quote that the village was gonna acquire the property.
That they were buying the property at the beginning of this conversation.
That's what the action item is about.
Got a question. So it goes up for public auction. We don't necessarily know who's gonna buy it.
Correct.
So it could, somebody could outbid somebody else, and that entity just sit around and hold it until they go into foreclosure again, and then we still have a house sitting there, correct? They could just,
Well, no,
That's a-
because
that's
then
a
you would still have a
consumption.
blight ordinance or a nuisance ordinance that would take care of
They
it.
would
I
have
think
to
you should
take
use
care
the
of it.
ordinances that are in place.
but
To address
would the
the
wheels
issue.
have to go back around with the 3 years and all that other stuff?
Yeah, but
And
why
so
would
it'd be
somebody-
another 3-year process.
No,
They're
because
suggesting
you
that
know the
somebody's gonna
owner.
buy a tax property and let
I-
it sit there and rot rather
I
than.
wanna hear
doing
both of
something.
you, but you both spoke
Okay.
over each other.
Well, you're
I'm sorry.
suggesting that somebody's gonna buy that tax property and let it sit there and continue to deteriorate or rot, when I don't understand what anybody would do, why anybody would do that.
Well,
I doubt that that's
let's
what's
just speak
going
for
to
that,
happen. I
Because
think
we
that's.
watched it happen on 2 lots on West Street in the village of
That's
Central Lake
being
3 years ago.
presumptuous.
We sat right here and witnessed it happening, so to say it can't happen, we have
Did
proof
somebody
it
buy it on
does.
a tax foreclosure?
It did, yes.
That
Which
can
pro-
happen in any house.
Yeah,
We
I
did.
just don't think,
If
so,
you know the owner, though, you can enforce the ordinance.
yeah, you could just enforce the ordinances that are in existence.
What ordinance would that be?
The nuisance ordinance,
nuisance
it's on
ordinance.
So we
page
could go ahead and cut the
41.
grass.
It's on page
No,
41.
you could with your ordinances, if you know the owner, like you could have done in the past 3 years, if you had known the owner, forced them to clean up the health hazard that's inside, what I call the primordial soup at this point, and force them to clean the outside because of the nuisance ordinances. Now, if you have an owner, answering his question, if you have an owner, now you can enforce your ordinance, and they will have to clean it up.
If we incur the cost of going through the court
Yeah,
system.
ain't that word.
We can't just go on people's property and clean it up.
Well, you're also going to lose
Doesn't matter what the
potential
ordinance
tax
says, on the
revenue.
advice of attorney, we do not enter people's property and clean up.
Okay, now
If you wanna
answer
enforce
with
it
the
to that
outside.
extent, the village would be in court, getting a court order to do so at the village's expense.
Actually, the ordinance says that it includes the interior of a building if it is promoting pests and
Actually, the
animals and
ordinance
things
is
like
only
that.
as enforceable as the attorney advises it is. And the advice of attorney
I'm
is
just saying how it's written.
I'm just saying, on the advice of the attorney, I'm not arguing, I'm saying advice of
Okay,
the attorney.
all right, well.
If we enforce blight, we will, even to cut grass, his advice on us, if we enforce our nuisance ordinance, do not go on somebody's property and cut their grass without a court order. Ordinance or not. The ordinance gives you the right to go to court, get the court order to do it, so there's an expense, time-consuming effort. I mean, I'll agree, blight is an issue in the village, it's an issue in every village. It's just the word we use though, Trudy, it's the word.
When are you
Yeah,
going to
I
address,
think it-
when are you gonna address that, Mr. Cruz? You've said that for several meetings I've attended since October.
When am I going to address it?
When is blight gonna be enforced and addressed? You've said it's an issue
Would-
over
would
and
the-
over again.
Would the majority of the people in the village like the blight ordinance enforced as it is?
I don't care.
I'd have to ask, has everybody truly read it and know what it says?
I read it.
Because if your lawn is more than 6 inches, we can force you to mow it. We can charge you, as Ken said, go into court, we can ticket. 6 inches, do you truly understand 6 inches is that?
And I think that what you do is give 10 days notice to the homeowner, that they need to take care of it, address it, or that you will come in and then you will bill them for your expenses.
And they can be fined up to
I did agree, I actually
$500.
read it.
My
today.
concern with blight is, with the ordinance of blight, is that it is very vague and truly hard to enforce, and it does need to be looked at by us at some time.
Okay, so it's kind of like selectively addressing blight. You're addressing the blight of one house, and it does sort of seem on its face to be on behalf of a church.
We're addressing blight on that property because we now have a very viable option to do so.
There's many places, Mr. Cruz, that there's a very viable, reason for enforcing blight.
And the light is not inside.
May I ask, is the church letter legally binding if we burn the house down and clear it? They say, no.
No, no,
So it's a risk.
no, it's not a risk in my opinion, Brad. If you're questioning the integrity of the First Congregational Church in Central Lake,
No.
I take offense to that, so we'll move on. We'll move on, okay? Right's right, wrong's wrong.
Legal, not the integrity of the church. She asked if it was
That
legal.
wasn't on the statement.
Okay, so,
Also, will then the property, will they be collecting property taxes now in the future if it goes to the church? So there will be no future property taxes. So actually, it's a net loss for the village.
of $158 a year, if somebody bought the house, fixed it up and sold it, and $12
Well, you
to
said
the
that your reason for
township.
not enforcing blight was expense, so,
I'm not gonna sit there and debate the issue of $158 tax bill a year for the village and $12 to the township business. That's if somebody buys it, if they improve it, and if they bring the value back up to $26,000. It has been sitting there for years, I haven't
it should
collected
go
one
through the
penny of
process.
tax
It's been
on it.
sitting there
So
because
they-
people, just like the church, as you stated earlier, have not been able to access the information required to take steps to purchase it.
Yes.
I just have a quick question. I was at the Little League game, so I got here late, but I missed the part about why doesn't the church just buy it outright itself?
Because right now, the village has first right of refusal only, only the village.
So
We
why
have to
would you,
go to auction with everybody
why take it? If it's a crapple,
To clean up the blight. We can clean up blight at zero
what's
cost to the
blighty
village.
outside?
Well, it's great, trees and grass, what's blight to you?
I'm not gonna discuss what blight is, and
Blight
I'm certainly not gonna
inside
sit
is
here
not
and
You
debate
have to
that.
discuss what blight is. You're
If
the
you're gonna keep
president, you
using-
should know and explain to us what blight
What is the
is.
definition of blight? Inside is not blight. A lot of people live in blight everywhere, in this community too, in places they should not be living, beyond living, okay? Blight is the outside of garbage, trees, shrub, broken glass, windows, whatever. That is blight,
In your opinion,
in the definition of blight.
okay.
So blight is inside, outside, anywhere?
That's feasible to the eye.
Yes.
Also, I strongly believe that if the church is willing to put out the expense of taking care of this property, raising it, cleaning it, whatever, all of the things that they're willing to reimburse you for, they should, like everybody else, go to the auction and put in their bid.
Correct.
We'll see how council feels. I feel absolutely 100% opposite. I think it's a great opportunity.
It's
Blight in the village at the
Conflict of interest.
no cost to the village is the most affordable option for anybody.
It seems like an illegal transaction.
Well, it's not.
So if I came up with $12,000 cash, signed a document, had it notarized and said I would be offering you the same offer that the church is, would I have the same opportunity?
In my opinion, yes. If you want to pay
So maybe you should
$12,000 for a
postpone
vacant
vote.
lot. Yep.
Maybe you should postpone your vote till I can get that money. 'Cause I want that house.
You wouldn't get a house though.
See,
You won't get a house. We have
there
a vacant lot,
again is
we
the
don't.
dilemma. We have to clear the lot to be able to resell it. We can't sell it with a house on it if we purchase it.
Is it illegal to sell it with a house
Yes.
on it?
As a municipality, we can't sell a house.
You can't turn it into a HUD house and sell it to a family that can't afford a home?
My understanding, no.
Probably shouldn't buy it then.
That's another agenda.
Okay.
So the purpose of buying the house is solely to clean up blight. That's it?
Yep.
Well, you could have bought the Cary house.
Could have
Could
done
have
that.
bought the other house up by the school.
I don't even know where we're going with that discussion.
Why,
I
why,
honestly
why
don't.
pick out this one
Because
house
this
for
house
blight
came
when
up
there's
on
10
tax
others that
sale.
need to be
This one came
cleaned
up
up?
on a tax sale. This is when the village gets the opportunities, the tax sale. And we see every tax sale piece of property that comes through. The last one was the home on West Street. The council at that time refused to buy it, and they looked at the mess for how long, about another year and a half? 2 years before more money was paid for the house, and then it was burned down and removed.
So what's the difference between that one and this one?
The difference is, the council's gonna decide tonight if we wanna do it, remove the blight, rather than sit through it for another 2 or 3 years.
And the difference is we didn't have anybody paying the bill for it on the other one.
Yeah.
And it went to tax sale and nobody bought it.
No, it went up. If we went through the whole process, the council refused to buy it, it went up, the house just sat there and sat there and sat there and got worse until the owner finally came forward and offered to sell it to Ron Brewer, right?
Mr. Brewer.
Yes.
Yeah, he brought the one on the one side and they were both really bad.
And then they were burned.
Was one of them,
I guess the way this was presented, if it wasn't on the new business or on the agenda in a previous meeting, and a decision was made today that we are buying this property, that's a comment that was made earlier, then that's not the correct way to run the business in order, okay? The public needs to be aware of what is going on at all times.
Was there a discussion last month about this?
Yes,
there was.
Yes, that the public was aware.
Was it
There was.
posted, was it new business at that time? Or was it on the
I
agenda?
believe there was a discussion of the purchase of this, and it was stated that it would be looked at again this month.
It was in the president's report.
Yes.
So the statement at the beginning of this particular conversation was that we are buying the property. That's what I was trying to get at.
And maybe in Mr. Cruzy's opinion, he thinks we are.
he
But
made
there's
a
7
statement-
of us up here that
Right.
make a decision.
That's right, but he made the statement, we are buying the property, not conversation back and forth.
I'm not gonna debate that, to tell you the truth, I'm tired of going back and debating.
The only
so-
question I would have, one more, is, Mr. Cruzy, you talked with our attorney, and under his advice, it
This
was,
is all under his advice, to get the letter of committal from the church, so the village truly isn't spending taxpayers'
Is
money.
that
that we don't know
email
if
or
we're gonna
phone
get back.
conversation? Your conversation
Phone
with the village
conversation.
attorney? Okay.
That's public record too.
It was item G in the committee reports. Purchase house on West Street.
I'm kind of mystified
Light.
how you cannot understand how this is a conflict of interest when you're members of that church.
I can't understand how you think it is, so we're.
It's pretty
I'm
obvious
not-
why I think
I have
it
a
is.
I'm not a member of the church.
How many are a member of the church on that board?
Leland.
So out of 7,
Yes, and
there's only 2. Just for the record, there is 5 extra people on the board.
well, I think the members of the church who stand to benefit from this should abstain from voting.
Well, I can guarantee you I will not abstain for voting, because I do not vote with my personal opinion. If you think I do, start a recall in the village, because I'm tired of the accusations coming out right now, okay? I will not abstain. I will not. I vote for what's in the best interest of the village and the people in the village, and it has nothing to do with my affiliation with the church, and I'm sure Leland stands the same way. So, if there's no more discussion at the council, I'll accept the motion to submit the bid to purchase the property from the county. Tax foreclosure.
I make a motion to accept the church's proposal to
Motion by Chapman for
purchase the village.
the village to submit the application to the county to purchase the property for the minimum bid of $3,642.89, plus a $10 deed recording fee. Anybody, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Tyler. Any discussion on the council? All in favor, roll call.
Batterby?
No.
Bodley?
Yes.
Chapman?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Cruzy?
Yes. Motion passed. Thank you. Rob asked that we table item B under action items till next month. We have more time to look it over and gather more information. Item C.
I don't think we have to make that action item, do we?
Yes, council has to approve.
Oh, you have to approve it every year?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Item C is to approve sending the past due water and sewer bills to the county for tax collection. And I think, yeah, the total amount is the $6,000.
I'll support it.
Support by Thayer. Motion by Thayer, support by Clark. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Item D is, like everybody has in front of them, the suggested changes from the planning commission for the changes to the zoning ordinance. Any questions? I was there last night, so I can answer them, Rob. Any questions?
I think that's pretty much it.
Put a limit on the height, I don't know, about 13 for, there's one up to the like a detached garage.
Right.
So there's 13 can be turned into if you truly buy a shed type building, there's 200 shed, 10 foot, so more than building 2-story, 198 foot with everything. Yes, yes. So if there's no questions, I'd accept the motion.
It doesn't have diesel parks and lot line, does it?
Yes. Yes, and it's accessory structures, if you look further up earlier in the zoning, 4.5, it has to comply with all dimensional setbacks. We didn't change that part, we just added
changed
to
part of
it.
it, I know that.
We just added to it.
Okay.
Yes, we changed them earlier, but a shed still has to be compliant with setbacks.
I'm sorry, Mr. Cruz, I know I asked you this last night, but just for the record, could you go over the points again on the zoning ordinance?
I can read it to you. Okay?
That'd be great,
It's
thank
easy.
you.
Okay. So, to amend section 3.3 accessory buildings. Section 3.03 shall be amended to add the following. 5, the number of accessory structures used primarily for storage, garages, sheds, carports, etc., shall be limited as follows. A, for all parcels, 2, provided that 1 be equal to or less than 200 square feet in ground coverage. And B, not more than 1 accessory structure may be permitted within 35 feet of the ordinary high watermark of any lake or river. 6, the number of accessory structures not used for storage, such as but not limited to gazebos, pergolas, playhouses, and play structures, shall be limited to not more than 2 per parcel, unless the parcel is equal to or exceeds 2 acres in size. And 7, the maximum height shall be as follows. Accessory structures greater than 200 square feet shall have a maximum height of 13 feet. Accessory structures equal to or less than 200 square feet shall have a maximum height of 10 feet. Yep, I'm sure our office will be glad. I would accept the motion to approve the changes to the zoning ordinance as recommended by the planning commission. Motion by Chapman, support by Clark. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Any additional public comment? Yes.
I'm looking at the purchasing of the property, and on here it says on C, ABC, approved $6,405.57 to send to the county for taxes. That's being approved for the purchase of that house?
No, that's past, that's delinquent water and sewer bills
Oh,
that get
okay, I
paid
just
over
wanna
the
make
county
sure.
annually.
Because it's kind of fallen under,
No, that's a separate issue. That's
all right.
water and sewer, delinquent bills.
Just want to clarity there, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other public comments? Thank you. I have no old business. We've covered all of it. I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
Actually, I would like to say something. It's been out there, and a lot of people have said it, that as a council, we don't listen to the public, and we don't respond, we don't take care of business. And I'd like to say to everybody out here, we do respond and we do hear you. You may not agree with us, we may not do what you guys want, but we do listen. And there's 900+ people in this village we gotta think about. I'm sorry if 8, 10, 12 people don't agree with us. And it may be more, it may be 50, it may be 100.
It might be 700.
But these people that are here, you know, it's a very small representation of our village. And so just to address it, I try to answer emails. I try to answer on the Facebook messages. I try to get stuff out there for you guys. I think it's a little unfair that you say we don't. We have a lot of business we take care of. So with that being said, that's all I've got.
I would like to respond to that as somebody who is just feeling completely unheard. That it doesn't seem as if anybody's legitimate concerns were taken into any consideration this evening at all. That it was already a decision that you were going to buy, burn, and sell that piece of property. So I really don't consider that active listening.
Can I respond
I'm sorry
back on
for
that?
that.
Absolutely.
I sat and listened to this for over 20 years, working for the village. So finally I did something, I run for the township. I watched these 7 seats, I don't know how many times, and only 6 people run. They had to now appoint somebody to the 7th seat. So you people sit back and criticize everything they do, and you have absolutely no idea
Not
what they're
everything.
doing.
Not
I have a
everything does that.
I'm telling you, I've
I
seen
have
it
a
over
comment on
23
it
years.
too. How many times have you guys asked for people to step up and help on the planning commission? Has anybody volunteered to help? Has anybody
Yourself.
came up? I came up.
I'll
Sumner
volunteer.
come-
Tonight,
We're not the planning commission, so.
but I'm putting it out there.
The next planning commission,
I'll be there.
I mean, how many people have really stepped up? We asked how many people, we had a public comment on the shed ordinances of what to do with the sheds. We had a public comment, a public forum. Nobody showed up. How can you guys say you're there to help if you're only gonna criticize and not be there to help support? That's just my opinion.
I think
Several
that is
years
the point.
ago, I
It
started
does reflect
zoning, I was
communication.
requested. That's been almost 20 years ago that I started zoning. And we had a difficult time getting people who would run on the board. Really, we couldn't get the help. And when I finally got off the board, they had a hard time getting a quorum on that zoning board. And they're still having a problem with with the planning.
Yep, there's only 3 of us and
They complain, but they don't step up and do anything.
exactly,
They
that's
talk
my
with their
opinion.
mouth, not with their mind or their brain.
I don't think that's
I
fair to
think
say of
that's
everybody.
insulting.
It's
It's true, and I don't live here, I'm just an Antrim County resident, I don't live in Central Lake. But as a Central Lake resident, I would be insulted by those comments. I think that people coming to you with concerns about what is or what is not, you know, a conflict of interest in a
I
business
didn't
transaction
point
is
you out,
not.
I just said
I
so
don't
many
think
of them
it's,
won't serve.
I don't think it deserves that sort
Voice
of
their opinion.
derogatory comments about the public.
The moral of the story is in 2 years, there's another election. We need to get more people involved in the whole community. And then you might have your choice to have a voice up there.
Motion by Chapman to adjourn.
Support by Batterby, all in favor?
Aye.